Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Darrell Owens, and we are here back for another edition of One on One, episode 182, 18 away from the golden 200 episode. But we are heading into week 4 of the NFL season already, and I say it every year, and it just gets faster and faster. And I'm not a fan, but we're still early in the season, so hopefully it doesn't go too fast. But we're already up and running and getting ready for the 4th week of the NFL season. So with that being said as well, we have to bring you the power rankings, man. Like, we have to tell you where everything stands. I got to tell you where I feel like things stand in the power rankings as we head into week 4. Also tonight, we've got the Seahawks taking on the Cardinals in Arizona. So this is another tough NFC West battle. These NFC West teams it's just slugfest every time they play each other. And I think I said at the beginning of the season, like, I feel like this division is going to be just a dogfight all the way throughout. And I can see anybody winning that division. So, but with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started, because we got to get into the bottom, all that fun stuff, top 10s and outside looking ins. So episode 182 of 101 begins now. One.
Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to 101 at Legacy Maker Sports Network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, episode 182 of 101 begins now. And we're so excited to be with you all. It is week 4 of the NFL season. We've got the Thursday night game upon us as the Seahawks and the Cardinals will face off. Battle of 2-1 teams, kind of figuring out, trying to, jock for position in that NFC West right now, which is a very highly contested NFC West based off of records. You got the 49ers, who are currently 3-0, and then everybody else in the division is 2-1. So that's what makes this so interesting. The 49ers beat the Seahawks. The 49ers beat the Cardinals. And so, who's going to win the battle of the teams that lost to the 49ers? I guess we find it all out tonight. But we got a lot to get into: the bottom, the outside looking in, the finale, the top 10, all that good stuff. Who's where on our MVP ranking? Are things still the same? Who won the Kings of the Gridiron for week number 3? So with that being said, let's go ahead and find out who is at the bottom for week number 4. All right. Bottom for week number 4. We'll start this thing off with the team that has been at the bottom the entire season, the New Orleans Saints. Now, last week, Saints fans, I said something I thought was, true. I felt like the Saints had played hard in those first 2 games, and they gave it all they got. And even though they came up short in both games, it was only 1-possession games. They lost to the 49ers by 5. They lost to the Cardinals by a touchdown, by 7 points. And then the Seattle Seahawks welcomed the Saints into town to the 12th man, and the Seahawks began to destroy this team. It was a really bad deal all the way through, and I just felt bad for them. I felt really bad for the Saints. This Seattle team gave them the business, 21-0 in the first quarter, tacked on another 17, in the second quarter. Saints were able to get a couple field goals in. They were down 38, ladies and gentlemen, 38-6. This game was over probably in the first quarter, but it was definitely over by halftime. And New Orleans were able to, get a touchdown at the end of the game, but it was a bad deal all the way through for the Saints. Great day for Mike McDonald and the Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold, solid day, 14 for 18 for 2 touchdowns, 218. Not big numbers, but Rattler had the same, in passing yards with 218, 28 for 39, touchdown and a pick. Kamara, 18 carries for 42 yards, not a lot. Walker, some of these stats was, similar for the most part for the top go-getters. Problem is Seattle just straight dogged this Saints team. It was tough. So they continue to be at the bottom this week at number 32. At number 31, we've got the Tennessee Titans. Now, Tennessee, once again, a team that, they in the early parts of this game, I felt like, okay, Tennessee was trying to hang in. Well, initially, at least it felt that way until Indianapolis put up 17 points in the first. They put up another 14 in the third. They won this one 41-20. Cam Ward hasn't looked miserable. Titans fans, I still think, as they get more pieces to the puzzle, they're going to be, I think they'll be just fine, but it's still a long ways away. And he's definitely at some point going to need to get some more pieces around him. And the team's just not ready yet. And this Colts team, a team that I have openly said miserable things about leading up into the season and not thinking they were going to be good. And they've already shattered the 2-15 record that I thought they would have, as now they're 3-0 after beating this Titans team. We'll get a little bit more into Daniel Jones and the crew a little bit later, but impressive win for them. Tough one for the Titans. They're at 31. They're 0-3. At number 30, the New York Football Giants. Boy, New York Giants fans, New York hung in on Sunday night for a little while, made it somewhat of a game, and then the Chiefs slowly kind of pulled away. But a really rough game for Russell Wilson. All it did was fire the flames to make the change that happened on Tuesday, where the Giants decided to move on from Russell Wilson as a starter, and it is Jackson Dart time in New York. So Russell will serve as the number 2. Jameis still at number 3. And this 0-3 Giants team, a team that thought that, could be competitive in games, which technically they have been. It just hasn't looked good. They've been in the games. They just haven't looked good. Cam Scatterboo has been a nice little spark for the team. He had 10 carries for 60 yards and a TD. With Tracy going down, with Tyrone Tracy going down, that means a larger role for Scatterboo. He was already getting more, in my opinion. It looked like he was getting more of the carries anyway. At least just on the eye test. He felt like that they were grooming him to be the next man above. And, they got Scatterboo in the 4th round. So it's a great 4th or 3rd round. And so he's been a really nice spark plug for the team at times. But they're still so far away. The Chiefs look great in this game overall. Thornton had a phenomenal day. He just seemed like he was all over the field. 5 receptions and 71 yards for the Chiefs. But, yeah, it just a tough day for the Giants. And they are sitting at number 30 on the power rankings this week. At number 29, the Miami Dolphins. They lost a game against Buffalo where they, at some point to that game, it looked like the Dolphins may have a chance to shock this Buffalo team. It went in the halftime 14-14. It went into the 4th quarter with the score 21-14. And, Buffalo was hanging on tight, and then they pulled away late to a huge interception that hurt this team as they were driving with a chance to, do some good things. And Terrell Bernard was able to get the interception, and that pretty much ended the chances of the Dolphins getting their first win of the season as they fall to 0-3. They're at 29, and I don't know. I just don't know. The Dolphins, the situation it gets a little better this week. They face another 0-3 team in the Jets, the number 28 team on the power ranking. A Jets team that fought their butts off, ladies and gentlemen, fought their tails off against Tampa Bay, just to come up short by 29-27. It was a great game. That last couple of minutes of this contest was absolutely phenomenal. You get the big block field goal that the Jets were able to scoop up, take it all the way back, take the lead 27-26. But then Baker Mayfield and the boys just, they do what they got to do. And they were able to move themselves to 3-0, but dropping the Jets 0-3 in the process. Now, I want to say this about the Jets. I think I've said it a couple times, but man, there is something about this Jets team. Yes, they're 0-3, but they have been competitive. They have fought hard. The Bills game, yeah, but those other two games, they were in the mix, and you can see the team they could be. You can see the team that Aaron Glenn could have in store for this team to be. Shout out to Tyrod Taylor for coming in and playing, solid and giving this, Jets team a chance to go in there and get a win. 26 for 36, 2 touchdowns and a pick. But, Tyrod Taylor has been one of the most serviceable quarterbacks in the league as starter and as a backup. And I still hate. I had a conversation with one of my colleagues in the Commanders press room the other day, and we talked about Tyrod and just how, the misfortunes have really kind of not given him the opportunities to truly be a starter in this league after the whole thing before Justin Herbert came in the league and he got punctured in the lung, and he's been a backup ever since. He's started a couple times, but he's been a backup ever since. But Tyrod Taylor, just wanted to give you a shout out. And this New York Jets team, they're going to start sneaking some games here soon. Just watch out. But they're at 28 for now. At 27, surprising 0-3 team. Probably the most surprising 0-3 team left is the Houston Texans. The Texans have had a bad go of it. They've had some tough games. First game against the Rams, they lose 14-9. They lose a tough 20-19 game to the Bucks, and then they lose to the Jaguars, and a division opponent, 17-10. They're losing close games, and they're not getting blown out. They're in every game. They're battling. They're competing. It's just not happening, and I feel really bad for them. And because that's a good football team that had a really tough schedule in the beginning, and the question is, can they get out of it? They've got Tennessee this week, so this is a chance for them to finally get that win. But Tennessee's also 0-3, so we've got a battle of 0-3 teams. Here at the bottom, with the Dolphins taking on the Jets and then the Titans taking on the Texans. So somebody, as long as there's no ties, two of these 0-3 teams should be, moving up, hopefully, in the power rankings next week. But more importantly, getting that first win of the season. So Texans at 27, and I still have faith in C.J. Stroud and the crew, but that offensive line is a little bit tough. We said that before. Something has to give for the Texans. At 26, the Vegas Raiders. Got to see this in person, boy. Let me tell you something. The Washington Commanders gave Vegas a butt whooping, and this game never felt close. It was 7-3 at one point. Washington had a 20-10 lead heading into the half. Still wasn't close. Washington dropped another 2 touchdowns in the third. Vegas scored some touchdowns late to make it a little bit closer. And shout out to Tucker, Trey Tucker, 3 touchdowns on the day. I had this man sitting on my bench in fantasy. I'm starting him this week and won't make a difference. But last week, I had him sitting on my bench, and this man had like 45 points. And I lost by 30. Boy, that's tough. But, I picked him up last year. He's been a dime. So your fantasy owners out there, if you can get you a Trey Tucker, I feel like he is Gino's favorite target, so far. And he's he may be their number one receiver at the moment. Nothing against Brock Bowers. Bowers is still amazing. But on the receiver front, at least, Tucker feels like he's that guy. Myers didn't seem to get featured that much in that game. They're still trying to get Genty going. He had 17 carries for 63 yards at the running back position, and he had a couple of moments, but, man, that offensive line just didn't do him any favors. And they just doing any favors. Washington and Marcus Mariota looked phenomenal in part 1 of the Marcus Mariota Revenge Tour, coined by my Bowie TV colleague, Candy Waller. So watch out to see if Marcus will get another chance at it this week. I guess we should know some official word here soon if he will be starting against Atlanta and seeing if he can get a little revenge in that. And not could see Jaden, but we'll see. At 25, we've got the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns, shock of the week. I know it shocked this guy, Packer enthusiast that I am. what a job by the Cleveland Browns. Hung in that game defensively, shut the Packers down, holding them to only 10 points. But the Packers had a 10-0 lead heading into the fourth. And the Browns seductively, some would say strategically, found a way to win this game. I mean, they scored all 13 of their points in the fourth. Jordan Love picked a blocked field goal with a chance for the Packers to win and move to 3-0. So that didn't go well. And then the 55-yard by Andrew, I think it's Smith, and I don't want to destroy it, but Andre Smith hit a 55-yard field goal as time expired, and he put the game away. So I'm not gonna lie to you. As an enthusiast, Packer enthusiast, I went into the game like, okay, this should be 3-0 heading into the Dallas game. This week I should have known better. It's like it was a setup game. Packers had 10 days off. Or they had a 10-game, separation from the Commanders game up until then. I don't know, just a bad feeling. But the Browns came in there, did what they needed to do. The crafty veteran drove Flacco and the crew get the win, their first of the season. They're at number 25. At 24, the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this team, the disappointment. 30-0 to the number 22 team in our power ranking, the Carolina Panthers. I mean, just an impressive way for Carolina to go in there and do what they needed to do, right? It was mind-boggling, but I was impressed. And they shut them out, Got poor Ike Hilliard fired, the receiver coach. I don't know why he got fired, but it looks like this could be the beginning of something for the Falcons. So it's a must-win game for Atlanta. And, going into this, Commanders game on Sunday, it's a must-win game. It's looking a little rough, just a little bit, just a little bit rough. So it will be interesting to see where they kind of, play this. But we got the Falcons at 24. But man, it was rough. I could easily put them further down, and it would be okay with it. And I'm sorry, Danny. I know you don't like to hear that, but it's rough, bro. It's rough. At 23, we got the New England Patriots. I picked them last week to beat the Steelers. I don't know. I was just doing it as a hunch, and they proved me wrong. Boy didn't have a good week record-wise, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the New England Patriots did what they needed to do, and lose. They didn't do your boy right. It was a tough competitive game. I thought the Steelers had a chance to, get a, much needed second win, but the Patriots had their opportunities and they just couldn't pull it off. I mean, it was a solid contest, 21-14. There was chances, and it just didn't go the Patriots' way. They're at 23. At 22, we talked about the Carolina Panthers and their 30-0 victory over the Falcons. That one had to taste sweet. If you're a Carolina fan, that one had to taste sweet. Shout out to Bryce Young. Shout out to the Panthers as a whole, man. I'm glad they were able to get the win and, showed that they're a tough young team that, Coach Canales has got things going for them. They're at 22. At 21, the Dallas Cowboys. They lost to Chicago 31-14. I probably should have had them lower, but I still think when you got Dak Prescott, a guy who's, been solid in this league. Yes, he has his moments, but he's been solid in this league. It was hard for me to not still put them, where they are on this one for the bottom, being the top team in the bottom. But they got a tough one this week. Micah come back to Dallas happens this week. Sunday night primetime game. It's a setup game for one of these teams. Either Dallas is going to go 1-3 or the Packers are going to go 2-2. And then there's some controversy going on. This is a very big week for both of these teams. And it's still early in the season, but it's a huge one. The publicity is going to be all over these two teams all week long. So there it is, the bottom. We got the Saints, the Titans, the Giants, the Dolphins, the Jets, the Texans, the Raiders, Browns, Falcons, Patriots, and the Carolina Panthers and the Dallas Cowboys. Boy, oh boy, man, the bottom. I know I went a little bit long-winded on that, but it was just so much going on in the bottom this week that I just kind of had to get a little bit of that out. But we're going to go ahead and get into it now. Let's go ahead and see who's on the outside looking in, who's knocking on the door of the top 10. All right. The outside looking in. Speaking of a team that beat the Dallas Cowboys, the Chicago Bears. What an impressive day for Chicago. What a great day for the man that they call Caleb Williams. I don't want to say it was a coming out party, but it was definitely a nice game for Caleb. Caleb, 19 for 28, 4 touchdowns, 298 yards passing. You know, Luther Burden had a touchdown. He had 3 receptions for 101 yards, a rookie doing his thing. It was just, Trayvon Edmonds had 15 sacks. 15 tackles. He had a really good day. They played well. Dallas struggled. Dak threw 2 picks in this one. Shout out to Javonte Williams on his day. He had 10 carries for 76 yards. He's continuing to do some really good things. So, yes, no touchdowns this week, but he's played really well so far. Jake Ferguson had 13 receptions for 82 yards, and they went to him a lot, especially after we saw CeeDee Lamb go down, who could be out for a little while. With all that being said, shout out to the Chicago Bears. They did their thing. They're at number 20. They're on the outside looking in. They get win number 1 on the season. At number 19, stayed at number 19 from last week, the Denver Broncos. Denver, tough game against the Chargers, losing 23-20. They had their opportunities, but in the end, the Chargers were able to sneak through on a very tough division opponent. They moved to 3-0, and now the Broncos are 1-2. So that loss to the Colts starting to hunt them just a little bit early in this NFL season. And, this team has been in the games. They have been fighting, so it's not like they're just playing bad football. It's just hasn't went their way. So Broncos at 19. At 18, getting their first win of the season, the Kansas City Chiefs, beating the Giants 22-9. Wasn't super duper impressed. We talked about Thornton in his game. He had a really good game for them. I still think the Kareem Hunt should be the starter, but that's just me. Probably because I got him on fantasy team. But Pacheco and them, they combined for some decent yards on the day. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they combined for about like 80, 90 yards between the two of them. And, they get the win. And they needed it, because if they had lost this game heading into the game next week against, or this week, I should say, against the Ravens, there's going to be a problem, man. Like, the Ravens lost a very tough one. So, Ravens are going to be looking to bounce back. The Chiefs are looking to try to gain momentum. So it's going to be a very interesting game between the Chiefs and the Ravens on Sunday. And so we got the Ravens at 17, who lost on Monday night to the Lions. It was actually a really competitive back and forth game. The Lions kind of pulled away a little bit later. David Montgomery, man, let me tell you something. David Montgomery is their battering ram, man. I mean, it gives, is the lightning. They call themselves Sonic and Knuckles. But what I saw from Montgomery was just a masterpiece, man. 151 yards rushing, 12 carries on the day, and he had 2 touchdowns. Montgomery was cooking. You hear me? Amon-Ra St. Brown had 7 receptions and a touchdown on the day. He looked good. And then you go and look at the Ravens side of things. Lamar Jackson did not have a bad day. 21 for 27, 3 touchdowns, 288 yards. The person that struggled the most in this game, or seems to be in a little bit of a funk, is Derrick Henry. He did have 50 yards rushing. Problem is, another big fumble at a crucial time. That's 3 fumbles in 3 weeks. And that's just unheard of from the future Hall of Famer. It's just unheard of. So, I remember in the episode, in the second week episode here on 101, talking about Henry, and that's not his normal thing, but this has become a alarming trend that I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to continue. So it'll be a very interesting game this week, but it's huge. One of those teams could potentially be 1-3, unless they tie. Could be 1-3 heading into week 5. At number 16, the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals are actually 2-1, so I apologize that is wrong on there. But the 2-1 Cincinnati Bengals lost their first game of the season to the Vikings, the number 14 team on the power ranking, and it was a beatdown. Like, Carson Wentz comes in and does his thing. Shout out to Carson Wentz. Like, Carson Wentz is taking a lot of heat in his career. But, Carson Wentz came in there and managed the game beautifully. 14 for 22 touchdowns, 173 yards. The defense was off the chain. Isaiah Rodgers who is probably going to be the defensive player of the week in the AFC or in the NFC this week. So don't be surprised. He was amazing, and he just had a really good day. Really good day. This Vikings team looked good, and in the battle of the backups, the Vikings were able to prevail, and the Bengals they look lost. They're at 16, Vikings at 14. The 15th team on here, the Arizona Cardinals, took on the 49ers in a battle of battles. I mean, these two teams just ugly football games about, these NFC West teams. They just don't play fun football. It's just ugly, just funky football whenever the NFC West teams play each other. So that's what I expect tonight. Just funky. I was going to put it as a high scoring game, but I'll also tell you that a little bit later as well. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. The Cardinals couldn't pull it off against the 49ers. 49ers winning 16-15. Look at that score. Just an ugly football score. But hey, a win is a win. 49ers able to pull it off at the end of the game, winning field goal. At 13, the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are 2-1 now. They should be 3-0. They should be 3-0. But nope, couldn't pull that bad boy off against the Bengals last week or the week before last or week 2, whatever way you want to say it. But Jacksonville, tough game against the Texans, two heated division rivals. And, just the big deal late. Brian Thomas Jr. finally getting things going a little bit, came up with a big play to help, give this Jacksonville team the win that they need and, to move on to 2-1 and just makes this AFC South very interesting, So right now the Jaguars are 2-1. You got 2 0-3 teams in the Titans and the Texans. And then, right now it looks like it's Jaguars and Colts kind of just feeling it out. But it is early, y'all. It is early. At 12, the Pittsburgh Steelers getting their win over the New England Patriots. It wasn't pretty. They went 21-14. It wasn't pretty. Rodgers only threw for 139 yards. He was 16 for 23, 2 touchdowns and a pick. It was one of those dogfight games. But, when you got some dogs on the team with a team that's kind of still, building in New England, the older dogs are able to get the dub. So the Steelers are sitting at 12, but there's still a long ways to go for Pittsburgh. At 11, that team that's knocking hard on the door in the top 10, the Seattle Seahawks, with their 44-13 victory over the Saints. I was truly impressed. Sam Darnold and the crew did what they needed to do. And, it'll be fun tonight to see what him and Kyler put up tonight. So here it is, the outside looking in. Bears, Broncos, Chiefs, Ravens, Bengals, Cardinals, Vikings, Jags, Steelers, and the Seattle Seahawks knocking hard at the door at number 11. So here we are, outside looking in, pretty smooth. But let's see who's in the top 10 this week. I think we got a couple new teams in the top 10 this week. Some teams fell deservingly, probably should have fell farther, but I'm going to try to keep that out of here. Let's go to the top 10. Here we are, top 10 heading into week 4. At number 10, the Washington Commanders. Washington, impressive 41-24 victory over the Raiders. Now, I want to give it a little bit more hype, but the Raiders are a team, in my opinion, that are not going to be that good this year. And they showed it in this game. And it was just a very, very impressive game by Marcus Mariota and the crew. They just, on all facets, just looked phenomenal. All the young guys stepping up. Luke McCaffrey had his first career touchdown. We saw Jeremy McNichols he's not a young guy, he's more of a vet, but key role players. McNichols coming through with a big touchdown. Terry McLaurin got a touchdown taken from him, but I'm gonna not get upset about that one. I'm gonna let that one go. I got a picture that proves that he scored that touchdown, but that's besides the point. And then Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, aka Bill, he got into the end zone. It was just a really good day for Washington, and the Washington fans were loud and proud. They were very excited, and they'll take that energy down to Atlanta on Sunday. So ready to make this road trip on Saturday and see how things pan out on Sunday as I head to Atlanta. At number 9, the LA Rams. Now, I'm mad at the LA Rams because I picked LA to beat the Eagles because I feel like the Rams are the team that I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. So I when I want to look good, I want to be right, but man, they made me look bad on Sunday. Man, like had the lead, they were in great shape. At one point it was 19-7 heading into halftime. They scored a touchdown to make it 26-7. Then Philadelphia just stormed back. And the way they win the game is just insane. So the Rams driving down the field, chance to set up a field goal to still find a way to win this game. And then the big man, the 336-pounder, Jordan Davis, gets the block, takes it all the way home to seal the deal with time expiring, and the Eagles move to 3-0. And the Rams are now 2-1. It was a great game. Definitely NFC Championship worthy. Definitely worthy of that playoff matchup like we saw last year between the two teams. And I just feel like this won't be the last time that we see these two teams face each other. So playoffs, we'll see. At number 8, the Detroit Lions are back, ladies and gentlemen. If you thought that the way that you saw them play against Green Bay was, a very good description of what you were going to see from the Lions this year, then you're sadly mistaken. I know this Lions team is good. They just had to get used to those coordinators. Green Bay, luckily, were able to punch them in the mouth, get a win, and hold that in their pocket. They still got to see them again on Thanksgiving, so anything still can go. But it was a nice, very, very nice win for the Lions over the Ravens, a team that, Lamar Jackson doesn't lose to the NFC. It just doesn't happen. And so it's very rare. And so a nice win, a very nice win for the Lions in prime time on Monday Night Football, dropping 38 points after they dropped 52 points last week against the Bears. They're scary. All these people that forgot about the Lions, including myself, I kind of pushed away from them. The Lions are still a very dangerous threat to make the Super Bowl. So do not look past the Lions. Now, for this power ranking purpose, because the Packers beat them, I had the Packers at 7. But the Packers, I was trying to be, logical. They probably should be number 28. That's how mad I was about watching the performance against a Browns team, that a game that they should win on paper. But the games are not played on paper, and the Browns came through and did what they needed to do. The Packers looked lost, a little lackadaisical. The Packers defense played phenomenal up until the fourth quarter. They played extremely well. Had them shut out up until the fourth quarter, where the Browns were able to score those last 13 points. They're at number 7 for now, but in my heart, they're at number 32. At number 6, we got the San Francisco 49ers. Now, 49ers fans, I know you're probably saying, yeah, Darrell, yeah, say something. I ain't got nothing to say. They won the games they needed to win. They did their thing. They're 3-0. I did not have them. I had them going 7-10, I believe. But the 49ers are hanging in there despite all the injuries. So shout out to the 49ers. They're at number 6. At number 5, another shocking team, in my opinion, at least, the Indianapolis Colts. Daniel Jones and the crew, amazing. They're just scoring the football every opportunity they get. The Colts scored 41 points in this game. 41. Daniel Jones, 18 for 25. 228 yards passing and a touchdown. He looks good. That's why I had him in the MVP race last week. Jonathan Taylor, 17 carries, 102 yards, 3 touchdowns. Guess what? He's looking like the Jonathan Taylor of old. Michael Pittman Jr., he's starting to come around. 6 receptions, a touchdown, 73 yards. This Colts team is I want to stay there for real. If they can beat the Rams this week, you won't hear 2 words from me dissing the Colts anymore. And, unless they just started playing extremely bad. But at this point, I like what I see. They're playing really good football. They're at number 5. At number 4, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay is the team that I have going to the NFC Championship game. Technically, I have them going against the Rams, but I can see it definitely be the Eagles. But I like what Baker Mayfield and this team. This team just has heart. When it comes down to it, the Buccaneers just have heart. just like their leader, Baker Mayfield. They broke out the creamsicles this week against the Jets. This past week against the Jets, they did their thing. They got the win when they needed it. So shout out to the Buccaneers. They're at number 4 and deserve to be at number 4. At number 3, the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers, big AFC West win against the Broncos. They are currently in the lead in the AFC West. And they had to sneak this win, but they got it. And right now they are looking pretty good. They got the Giants this week, and they're going up against the rookie Jackson Dart. So they, on paper, paper is a different thing here. They should be going 4-0, but the games are not played on paper. So we shall see. At number 2, the Buffalo Bills, pressing win over the Dolphins. There's not a lot I'm going to say about the Bills other than they've been amazing, and they've had a good season so far. And at number 1, and deservingly number 1 for the 4th straight week, but on top of that, extending their all-time lead as a number 1, the most number 1s on the power rankings, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles as they move that magic number to 19. If they can hold off to next week, they will move it on to 20, but they take on the Buccaneers next week. That's going to be a good football game. Got some really good football games on paper this week. So that'll definitely be one of them. So here it is, the top 10. Commanders, Rams, Lions, Packers, 49ers, Colts, Buccaneers, Chargers, Bills, at number 1 for the 4th straight week, the Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly, ba, 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 ba. I've heard it a lot. Probably more than any person that is an enthusiast of the team has heard. And, so shout out to them, though. The Eagles look good, even when it's ugly. They found a way. Howie Roseman has built a magical team out there in Philly. Now, let's go ahead and finish this thing up right, ladies and gentlemen, and let's finish it with the finale. All right, so first off, in the finale, our Kings of the Gridiron for week number 3. Caleb Williams gets the offensive King of the Gridiron this week for our player of the week. 19 for 28, 298 yards, 4 TDs at 142.6 QBR rating, and they win over Dallas 31-14. So a nice win for the Bears, and a nice way to kind of get the momentum going. So we'll see how they use that momentum this week and see if they can continue. And on the other side, another NFC North guy, Isaiah Rodgers, 3 tackles, 2 touchdowns on the day, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception for Isaiah Rodgers. What a day. So as an enthusiast of a certain team in the division, this one kind of hurts a little bit, but you got to give love to where love is deserved. So Caleb Williams, offensive king of the gridiron, Isaiah Rodgers, defensive king of the gridiron this season. Next, we've got our MVP race. Allen at 1. Mayfield moves up. Everybody moved up. I slid my man Lamar to 5th, but Allen 1, Mayfield 2, Herbert 3, Jones 4, and Jackson. Now, you probably said Darrell. There's no way you're going to have Daniel Jones over Lamar Jackson. But in this case, I do. Daniel Jones is playing good football. And Lamar's playing great football too, but the Colts are 3-0. And that's the magic thing that you see about the teams that are ahead of Lamar. Lamar's still putting up great numbers, even though this team is 1-2. But Allen, Mayfield, Herbert, Jones, they've all got their guys at the top spot, or in 3-0 so far after 3 weeks. Now let's hit your boys' record. 31-17 on the season. I was riding high last week, man. I was sitting there pretty, man. I was 23-9. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try to keep it in single digits. That didn't work out for the losses. And I go 8-8 this past week. 11-5 the first week, 12-4 in week 2. It just didn't work out for your boy, man. It just 8-8 this past week. It wasn't good. I'm gonna have to find a way to bounce back this week, and that starts tonight with the Thursday night game as the Seahawks take on the Cardinals. I've got the Seahawks winning this one 21-16. Now, if you guys have looked in the past, I've been pretty close on some of these scores. Not every time, but like I think last week game I had it. What was the score I had it last week? I think I had it 34-24, and it ended up being 31-21. That's what happens all the time One year I missed it back-to-back weeks by 1 point, or I flipped the score of the team that lost and the team that won. It's always in the mix. So we'll see if tonight I can actually hit it on the nail, hammer, something like that. The Cardinals always score ugly, so that's why I got the Cardinals with 16, and I just got the Seahawks winning this one 21-16. And last but not least, my winners for week 4, Seahawks, Commanders, Ravens. That's the one that could trip me up. I feel like the Ravens are going to bounce back, but it is the Chiefs, and that's Patrick's Achilles heel. The Steelers, the Chargers, the Texans. I got the Texans getting their first win. The Bills. I got the Bucks beating the Eagles. Eagles fans will be like, Darrell, what is this trend you got going on with picking against us? Look, I just like Tampa Bay, and this is just a tough matchup for the Eagles. It's something about this Tampa Bay team, and that's all I'm saying. Lions, Panthers. I got them beat New England. Jaguars, Rams, Bears, Packers, Jets, and the Broncos. So that's my week 4 selections and who I think will pull this bad boy off. All right, everybody, that's it. Episode 182 of 101 in the books. Of course, airing on the amazing Bowie TV and on always on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in for another episode. We'll be back next week, right before I hit the road to go to LA, because the Commanders take on the Chargers next week. So, the season is it's a lot going on, but we're having a lot of fun with it so far. And it's fast and furious so far. I mean, we're already a month into the year. I can't believe we've already, been moving like this. This is our second road game of the year at Bowie TV. So, or second regular season road game. And then next week hit the road to LA. So then the Commanders come back home to face the Bears on Monday Night Football. So busy, but rather be busy than not busy, I guess you can say. With all that being said, everybody, thank you for tuning in for episode 182 of 101 here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, and of course airing on the amazing Bowie TV. Make sure you guys go watch some college football this weekend if you can. Go to a high school game and support the kids, and of course watch some football on Sunday and on Mondays. You got to enjoy. You got 4 days of football coming up, and if you got JV in there, you probably had JV last night or tonight. So just get it all in and enjoy football up until Monday. Once again, everybody, I'm Darrell Owens, Legacy Maker Sports Network, Bowie TV. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all next time.
Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof.